Good evening, and thank you so much for being part of Asonye live this beautiful evening. Apologies, we came a little bit late there, but here we are, and we are ready to take you through what we have for you today. And earlier today, there was a press conference. It was in collaboration. The People's AGM collaborated with the African Network for Environment and Justice and Economic Justice. I keep getting that wrong. I hope I got it right. African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANEJ, had a press parley earlier to discuss so much, and that's where we'll be going to, which is consolidating to meet global climate change objectives. We'll be asking questions like, how can Nigeria enhance its climate change adaptation measures to cope with impact of climate change on agriculture and food security? We'll also talk about how Nigeria can reduce flaring and waste management in the oil and gas sector. There's so much to discuss, and in the studio to discuss all of this with me is Comrade Taiwo Otitilaye. He's the co-chairman. I hope I got it right this time.
Well, you tried a bit.
Okay.
Otitilaye.
Otitilaye.
Yeah.
Otitilaye. Okay. Yeah. He is Comrade Taiwo Otitilaye.
Great.
Good. Yeah. Co-chairman, the People's AGM. He's also the president. Publish What You Pay. We'll get to know all about that. But we're going for a short break right now to return with the conversation. Stay with us. Welcome back from that. Like I said earlier, we have Comrade Taiwo Otitilaye. Okay, yeah. I practiced during that short break. Otitilaye is a co-chairman, the People's AGM, and they had, I made a mistake earlier, it was not a press parley per se, it was actually an annual general meeting, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
We'll get to learn all about that. But first of all, what is the People's AGM all about?
Well, the People's AGM is all about we, the people of Nigeria, coming together in an annual general meeting. Because you see, the multinational oil companies, they hold their annual general meetings exactly. To decide on investment and how to would I say continue to exploit our natural resources, especially oil and gas, in the oil host communities. So you see, all over the world they gather, and like Shell is having its AGM this May and others between 23rd and 31st of May. Shell, Egypt, and others, all multinational companies. They hold their AGM. They decide how they will run for the next 1 year.
Exactly.
So how and the decisions affects the life
of the people.
You can see pollution in the Niger Delta, oil explorations.
Right.
You can see livelihood have been destroyed, ecological damage, environmental injustice. All this they decide at their NGM. So the ANEJ, African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, mooted the idea and brought people from host communities, from social movements, from NGOs, from all over the country together last year in Lagos, May 23rd last year. We now held the People's AGM, the People's Annual General Meeting. Right. As Shell and others are holding their own to decide on how to pollute our environment and exploit our natural resources.
You keep saying pollute the environment, but I would like to ask, in their activities or in these annual general meetings that these IOCs, the oil and gas companies have, I don't know, engagements with host communities, for instance, the people and government. It seems like it's usually multi-stakeholder meetings. So your activities acting like the people are completely out of those annual general meetings, and the decision do not include the people. But government too has a policy that these IOCs work by. So where is this gap that you keep mentioning?
The annual general meeting of Shell and others is for those investors, those who have share in those companies. And it's just like you have a company and you have the people buy shares, you come together and decide. It's only those with shares. So the people are not involved. And like you know, if you go to the Niger Delta, you see pollution, you see degradation, women, maternal mortality, infant and child mortality, you see cancers, you see all sorts of things there. So the people again, we are coming together now to discuss how to respond to these injustices, how to also dialogue and give Shell and other. Okay, let's talk, because we cannot continue to degrade our environment. Let's talk. And also, along with Paris Agreement, that carbon emissions by 2030 should be reduced to 2 degrees Celsius and further to 1.5 degrees. So with all these issues we are taking, and policy issues as it concerns the government, so at the People's AGM we discuss how to go about it and how to also carry the people, sensitize them, environmental awareness, environmental health literacy, how to also negotiate. So this what is the People's AGM at. So if they Shell and others have their people annual meeting, the people should also meet in their annual general meeting to decide how to confront all these environmental injustices.
Well, I stumbled on the invitation to be there, but who are those people who had to be at this annual general meeting? Who were the invited people who had the right to be at that meeting?
Good. It's a good question. The community people host communities.
Okay.
Where you have the oil and gas, civil society organizations, social movements, journalists, and the people of Nigeria that have stake in this natural resource governance. The civil society and the communities and leaders. So they have the right to be there.
Okay. So, because a lot of us were wondering if this is supposed to be the people's AGM, where host communities and those, especially like the Niger Delta, for instance, why are we having it in the FCT?
And also, recently, oil was discovered in another Kogi, Nasarawa, Gombe. They are all there.
Okay, so, but why was the location for these people's AGM in the FCT? What was the significance of having it here?
Yes, the significance is that, okay, last year we held it in Lagos, where we have to protest. We did a rally at the front of Shell's corporate headquarters in Lagos and deliver a letter to them at that annual general meeting. Now this is the federal capital territory, so we have to come here. Okay. So since it's the people's AGM, we will move it around. Next year now it will be another location. Okay. So the significance here is that, okay, we can have the NNPCs here, and NNPC plays major role in the oil and gas industry. So we can give them a letter. You have a role to play to make sure that the people's environment are no longer further degraded. People are means of livelihood are not destroyed. If you go to the oil communities, you have abject poverty. So these are some of the reasons.
Okay, and then my other question would be, we have the Nigerian Petroleum Act that gives that gave that sector some sort of better regulation, and we now had a better view as to who does what. It's supposed to give us a good atmosphere. The host communities know what is is obtainable for them. The IOCs know where to stop. The IOCs also had demands as to local content. There's so much that that document has done in the oil and gas sector. What is the people's AGM? What is Anish going to do differently to ensure the implementation of all these beautiful tenets inside the PIA?
Well, it took Nigerians and we in the civil society over a decade to get the Petroleum Industry Act passed and assented to. Well, I agree we have covered a ground, but the Petroleum Industry Act is not yet Uhuru. It's a starting point, but the act itself still have many shortcomings.
Just I would like you to share some of those shortcomings.
Yeah, like some of those shortcomings, like the carbon emission we are talking about now. The Paris Agreement is not covered there. Even the Climate Change Act 2021.
Okay.
All those there still have shortcomings, and in practice, when you have law or policies, it will have to be translated to practice. And until the people ask the leadership, no leader want to willingly do what is right. So the Petroleum Industry Act, so it's just a policy, an act, a guide. So we have to also make sure that the act is put into practice.
Okay.
And in terms of polio, you can see there is the Ogoni cleanup, the unit report. Progress have been slow. Even decisions
have not
been implemented. Even Shells have also, in its commitments, financial commitment and other commitment, have not met up to expectation what is there. So like I also worked on that advocacy level, that Ogoni cleanup, yeah. Based on the UNEP report. So the policies are there. Like Nigeria, many say we have policies, but the implementation
for them.
So implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act. So it has its shortcoming, but even with its present state, we need to make it work.
So how are you going to make it work?
Like the Yoruba people say, a dog in the book cannot bite.
Exactly. A dog in the book cannot bite.
Cannot bite.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. That's true, and it just paints a proper picture of what we are facing.
Yeah.
A dog in a book cannot even bark.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to get that dog become human enough to bark or even bite? What are you going to do differently that society, how would I put it now, CSOs have not done in the past, that civil society organizations have not done in the past, that agitations especially from those oil states have not done? We've seen stakeholder meetings over the years. So what is different about Anish in collaboration with the People's AGM?
Great, this question is great, and that's what gave birth to the People's AGM. In the past, we have struggled like my comrades and it's 8 other Ogoni compatriots, and even the Ogoni 4. We are the state's mother. It was, we call it state mother then, because they were murdered. We have protests, we have Ogoni Bill of Rights, we have the Kayama declarations, and we have been having engagements over decades. So now, we are taking it further to say, okay, the international oil companies have their annual general meeting because they have a stake. So the people, we the people must have an annual general meeting because we also have a stake in our natural resources, in our environment, because the environment is our life. where you live, what you eat. You talk about food security. We have food security and food safety. We have healthy living. And we are also talking about universal health declarations. Universal health declaration cannot be achieved without environmental justice, because it is the environment. Like, take for example, over 70% of the illnesses
that the people in that community suffer.
Yes, even in any environment, are environmental factors. I may also a public health
practitioner. Wow, that's yes. Wonderful.
What you inhale, what you eat. You talk about smart agriculture. If GMO foods, polluted environment, polluted soil will give you what? Polluted food. We eat polluted food, either yam, either cassava, and in most cases, the animals around are also affected. The water, fishes no longer available. Where they are available, you can see that you are eating a polluted fish. So it affects your health. So the so the people we are now taking it further. Even incorporating research components for evidence-based approaches. So this is what we are doing from the past, because I've also been in the past. We have had several organizations like the Campaign for Democracy. I was a national vice chairman then under the Bekor and some Kuti. We have Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, civil liberty organizations. So now we are bringing the people together under the platform of the People's AGM. So it's an innovation to move our past struggle
further. So the 30% that the PIA allocated for host communities from the oil and gas operations in deep water and frontier basins, would you say it does not suffice? Because I've heard conversations around that where host communities are claiming that 30% would not suffice when it comes to the many degradations, the environmental degradations and the harm to self, like you've mentioned. Is that a conversation you would like to start all over again?
Yeah, it's cannot. The 30% cannot. 30% of what? 30%.
According to the PIA of profits.
Yes.
From the oil and gas.
Yes, 30% of the profit.
And the profit is indeed massive, you must admit.
And how many host communities? And are those? What is it? The people that are directly benefiting?
Shouldn't the people be directly benefiting?
That's the question we begin to ask. Implementation. We have heard that they say Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs give people cash. Is it unconditional cash transfers? And how many people has it impacted on in terms of poverty level? Yet, last year, the last quarter of last year, we have National Bureau of Statistics
talking about
133 million multi-dimensional poverty. So this is what we are saying. And 13% derivation by oil producing states. Go to the Niger Delta.
So you're not holding, who are you holding here?
The government. Right. I'm holding the government.
From what?
Accountable. Because the government and those who are government leaders, political office holders. Where's the genuineness to, implement the 30%?
Okay.
Correctly, genuinely, to the people. We have not had that sincerity. You can see our burden debt now is 41 trillion naira. From how much? I think about it's about
I don't have the statistics
this thing, trillion between 2015. and now.
So in 8 years,
yes,
we have gone to 41 trillion. Yes.
And we are now going to borrow another $800 million.
You do not believe that money should be collected?
It should not. To do what? Let our refineries work. Our four refineries has the capacity to refine 445,000 barrels of oil per day. Currently, is the capacity, what is taking now is less than 5% of $445,000.
Oh, exactly.
If our refineries refine, we have the ability to refine more than a dozen byproducts.
Byproduct.
Yes.
That's a good place to hold.
So if you not spread overhead.
Comrade, I know you're a comrade, but I must cut you there. Let's go for a short break, comrade. We're still talking about the petroleum industry and how Nigeria can consolidate to meet global climate change objectives. We'll be right back after this. This is still Joy Asonye Live. This is still Joy Asonye Live, where we've been discussing consolidating to meet global climate change objectives. We've been discussing this with Comrade Taiwo Otitilaye, the co-chairman, the People's AGM, and the Publish What You Pay. And we will get to the Publish What You Pay. I mean, what is that about? Publish What You Pay.
Okay. Publish What You Pay is a global coalition.
Yes, you said so. Publish What You Pay Nigeria, yeah.
In 51 countries. So I'm the national coordinator for Nigeria.
National coordinator.
And we also have our members all over the state. So it is the world leading coalition in extractive industry advocacy. In fact, Publish What You Pay facilitated the establishment of EITI, Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative. So we are the first global coalition. So we tell government to publish, we tell company and government to publish what they receive from company in terms of oil, in terms of taxes, in terms of royalties in oil and gas and mining industry. That is solid. You call it, people call it solid minerals. So in the extractive, so the revenue received must be published so that the people will know, okay, this is how much government receives. It's about this. Transparency and accountability, and so that we can tie it to the projects, to the benefit that accrues to the people, right? Especially those in extractive communities. So we can see.
I can't help myself. I'm just smiling. How much data and transparency have you seen in your advocacy for this? For the Publish What You Pay, from the government, from the organization and investors that are coming, have you seen the needed transparency?
No, the needed transparency. It's not the transparency and accountability. And accountability, exactly. Short, because over the weeks, months, even year, you can see the amount of stealing, oil stealing.
You call it oil stealing? Yes. Outright stealing.
Outright stealing. We know it. No, I'm not missing words.
That's key.
Outright stealing. So you can see that they're now talking about subsidy. If we can cover the leakages and stealing, we will not be talking about subsidy, because to us in Publish What You Pay, even subsidy is a scam. It's a scam, yes, because people collect money and pocket. So now we are saying, now we have data. Even the government agency themselves reeling out oil money. I mean the oil theft. Government agency are reeling it out. Say, okay, this is how much oil have been stolen. Who's those people stealing? Government is in charge. And mind you, no oil can be taken outside this country without our security agencies.
There are several of them. We have the
and you see the other last year, a 4-kilometer pipe.
Yes.
Was discovered. You can see was discovered, and there's a host of that, and even agencies, security agencies, aid these people, because if they don't aid it, they can.
It will not.
Yes.
Exactly.
So a lot. So we are seeing it and we are seeing it out. And of recent, you see the bribery and corruption between Genco and Nigerian officers.
Okay.
So these are the.
You seem to know. You seem to know exactly the problem in the oil and gas sector.
I am coordinating publish what you pay.
Exactly.
So
as the coordinator, publish what you pay, and the co-chairman, the People's AGM, you are also collaborating with the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice. Yeah. These are very strong organizations. Very strong. But I'm taking us back.
The initiator of that People's AGM.
Okay. Yeah. So we are coming back to Nigerians knowing the problem but not having a good idea as to how to solve it. You have mentioned the many contributions or collaborations that can make this, what you call stealing, your words really, stealing happen. How can we see sanity in that industry?
Good. Since sanity in the oil and gas industry, it's the decision of the Nigerian people.
You and I?
Yes, it's our responsibility.
Right.
How do I mean? Government will say, okay, there is what you call international conspiracy.
International conspiracy?
The international oil company, remember, they dictate to countries. It's what we call corporate influence, that is, oil companies dictate to countries, to governments, to leaders
and not the other way around.
Of course,
not government of the country.
No, because
oil companies.
There's complicity
from the side of government.
Of the government and government actors.
Is this an African thing or a global thing?
It's more pronounced in Africa. In other climes, the laws are there, and the system, that's what we systemic failure. There's systemic failure in Africa.
So how can the people,
especially in Nigeria? So the people should insist. You can see some people now, maybe abject poverty, you give them 2,000 naira, they vote whom they don't want to vote for. In terms of voting and doing mandate protection, when they say, okay, this is the person one, you go and relax. No, you begin, civil society, they have educated citizens, they will say, oh, you say, if you take 2,000 today, you suffer another 4 or 8 years. They say, let me just take
at all.
So the people should collaborate and say, there is what we call in leadership or accountability. There is the demand side and the supply side of accountability. So the people should demand from the government and office holders, should demand accountability, should work together, should make the system function. If they contribute, like ASU strike, now I take ASU strike. ASU is a very consistent union that I respect. Consistent union. They have been, but Nigeria has not supported them. Each time they strike, they will begin to continue beg ASU. Instead of begging the government, we are seeing stealing. We are seeing oil theft. We see somebody stole about 100 billion naira. It could be something for some people.
Right. So, however, when the Nigerian person, the Nigerian populace, the citizens, the office of the citizens see this, it's in our face, we read it in papers, we see it in all mediums. What do you expect the Nigerian person to do?
What I expected Nigerian people to do at every community level, you meet and say, councillor, somebody who will represent us as a councillor, we must determine it. Where can a politician rig? It's where he or she has upper hand. But if the people are determined and say we must choose our representative, not imposition. That's why we also talk of party democracy.
Yes.
The political parties are not democratic. You can see all of them crying here and there now.
You seem to have a lot of issues. You see the many faceted issues Nigeria has.
Connected. So we start at that grassroots level. Even your village leadership, your councillor, your chairman, your house of assembly, your house of rep, your governor. We started from there. You can say over the years it has collapsed. You say, yes, I have experience. I've gone to several detention place, SSS, prison.
Are you taking a tour of our prison facility? I mean, I don't know why you're taking.
I've gone through detention under the military dictatorship, so I know all the issues. And I know how we have put down our life. When I talk of prison, yes, not as an activist, high level. Talk of not just prison in the States.
So this prison and all these sacrifices you have made, would you look back and say you were happy you made them and that it has yielded some appreciable result?
Well, the struggle is my life, and I have that conviction. That's why I'm participating, so I have no regrets. But I will look back to say the struggles we did, the achievements recorded, there's retrogression.
And not necessarily success.
There are successes. In times we are not in a military junta era, but we have militaries that off their
uniforms, right?
And now, yes.
But the body is still the same.
Buhari is still a military dictator, whether off khaki or on khaki. It's a dictator who is antecedent, and the society have not transformed, unlike in the advanced countries where you see military leader transforming, not just from khaki to this, but going following through the normal political process. But in Nigeria, the 2023 election, you can see also was even worse than the 2019.
That's in your opinion, of course.
Yes, in my opinion.
But let's come back to how Nigeria can consolidate. Is there anything Nigeria can do in partnerships with? I mean, we have several global agendas for climate change and how we could set the pace for a better or a kind of environment where when you do your oil and gas business, it does not affect the environment so badly. But would you say with the coming administration, if you have to suggest ways that we would see IOCs, because we can't do away completely from them, we need them here for that investment in the oil and gas sector, and we will see host communities smile as well, the government smile, the people smile. How can you consolidate it all if you have to advise the new administration?
Well, the people say GEM is saying oil and gas are dirty energy.
Let's
the
look green.
world are dirty energy, fossil fuels.
So we can look green.
That the world is moving towards clean energy. So that Nigeria should look towards that direction and its commitment along the Paris Agreement. We have seen it, and we are seeing it staring us in the face. All it's a cost to the people. And look at African countries, wherever there is rich mineral resources, the people are rich. It's a cause. It has always been a cause.
This is the resources that has literally been keeping Nigeria afloat in terms of economy. It's our mono economy. We depend solely on it.
But how has the revenue translated to development?
Would you rather revenue
say now you are talking of agriculture? About 70% of farmers are still subsistence farmers. In United States of America, less than 5% are farmers. And they feed the country and have enough to sell. So if our government oil revenue can be what we call diversify to other areas. Agriculture, we have land. We have arable land. We can make, and agriculture can be the best resources
for
to turn
revenue for the
Nigeria
country.
to a country. Look at United Arab
Emirates.
Especially look at Dubai, deserts. So these are what we should be using oil and gas money to do, because those communities now that are like the Olobiri is now a museum. Some community will gradually, oil will finish there. Fossil fuel will no longer be in vogue,
right?
And the money has been stolen, misapplied, misappropriation. So technological advancement, mechanized farming. The world is going into artificial intelligence, clean energy. The world is going. We are lagging behind. We will not have diversified our economy, like you rightly put it, a mono economy. So this is the point we are making. You are having 4 refineries. And now, okay, you are selling your crude to buy. That is what we call oil swapping. You sell aside, you collect refined products. You can see, well, that is a Jankara market
plan
philosophy of economy.
Right.
What I would call a casino economy. Why not manage your oil, refine it? Okay, let's say the least we can get in crude oil. The least, given our refining capacity, the least is 12. It's more than 12. But let's even limit it to a dozen, 12. If you refine 12 byproducts, you spread your overhead. Even if you sell PMS, petrol, at 100 naira, you will make profit.
Money from the other
have aviation oil, have several products. You can see it's a. You can see what I am saying. Why not? You spend several millions of dollars on turnaround maintenance on your refineries, and yet it's not producing. So this is what we are saying. You can apply the profits to agriculture, to science, to education. So this is what we are saying. But why I say international conspiracy and in complicity with our leaders. Look at Rwanda, a country that came from the genocide in Rwanda. Look at Rwanda today, and look at Nigeria. Look at the enormous
resources that we enjoy,
human and natural resources, even the environment. So this is what we are saying. It appears people they do not understand what we are saying. It will affect if you divert the money. Once I was the chairperson, Civil Society Steering Committee of NETI, Nigeria Extractive Industry Transfer.
Right.
I was chairperson, metering. That is measuring committee. What we need is let's install meters on oil well heads and at terminals, so that we know the quantity of oil we produce. No, nobody want to hear that because of the stealing. You know, if we do in Saudi Arabia, a drop of oil, they know where
it has gone to.
A drop of oil.
Okay, we don't have much time any longer, but for those who are waiting, or rather brewing themselves to take charge in the next administration, listening to you right now, in a sentence, what would it be so that we would have trust again for the Nigerian government, and we will have the Nigerian people also benefiting from the largesse that the oil and gas industry brings?
The incoming administration, yes, if you hear me, I would say for about 6 decades, oil and gas has not profited Nigeria. If the stealings, oil stealings can be stopped, if our refineries can work, and we build more refineries, we can refine locally. The revenues, the profits, we can diversify it to agriculture, to science, and other areas that will transform the economy.
Okay.
But if we continue
and
this way,
in terms of the corruption?
Yes, if all these corruption leakages are removed, we'll head a better way, and the economy will be transformed, and the people of Nigeria will now begin to enjoy their natural resources. We have Nigerians overseas, they are doing well, so we have Nigerians that
I must thank you, Comrade Taiwo Otitilaye.
Yes.
Otitilaye, co-chairman the People's AGM and national coordinator, Publish What You Pay. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you.
So we've been discussing consolidating to meet global climate change objectives. This is Joy Asonye, but we have rounded up the program. We'll be back tomorrow with so much more. Have a wonderful evening.